Hello and welcome to the Weekend Edition. I'm Dr. Kingori. Our guest on the show tonight is Pastor Mankush. But before we get to that part of the show, there are a few things from this past week that we can't just let slide. The NYS scandal made one of the suspects, Anne Girita, look so bad that she was pictured in court applying lipstick in a bid to restore her image. The case is that she received 60 million without supplying anything to the NYS. She did not even apply for the tender. Actually, what is that in the whole NYS saga, the lipstick is the only thing she has ever applied. And she's a millionaire. You can't make this up. And now in the fight against corruption, the president has announced that public officials will now be taking the lie detector test, and those who fail will be sent home. It's a brilliant idea. It's bound to work unless they take it through parliament. I know all Kenyans are liars, lakini parliament mnajua ndio headquarters. Wakipeleka huko hiyo machini itaharibika, because there, a truth today can be a lie tomorrow. In other news, police ambushed a group of Kenyans drinking out of the set timetable of drinking. Ile timetable government imeweka ya wase wakunywe on Saturday, and what unfolded was epic. Our reporter Kenya Njui has it all for you in one piece. Check this out.
The heroic act by a Malian immigrant, ama ukipenda Msamaria mwema, who saved a baby hanging from a building in France, was replicated in Kenya this week when members of the Kenya Drunkards Association, Nairobi branch, known for their motto, Aim Higher, went climbing this building to save themselves from police officers who ambushed them drinking outside the drinking timetable. Guess what? Critics have slammed the act of moving to the top of a building as stupid because they complicated the case even more. Police were after them for being high, and they chose to go higher. The police officers drawn from the anti-staggering squad tasked with harvesting individuals under the influence of the liquid version of the Tanzanian president conducted the operation ad. It has been noted that they were very reasonable since kuna walevi ambao walipewa muda wa kufanya makosa in full kabla ya kupelekwa mbele, and others were asked to lie down and think about what they had done before being uploaded na kuigizwa kwenye tetanus mobile, ama ukipenda gari ya Kaju in Rayman's language. The drunkards were later taken for detox at City Hall, ambapo walipewa supu na matunda na wakaambiwa wasirudie tena. Representing the Guesswork fraternity on the Wicked Edition, it is the one and only Kenya Chui.
And now to the main subject of our show tonight, the price of the war against the devil.
Shoot Satan! Cock your gun! Shoot Satan!
I don't know why we even play that, but I just have a feeling it's necessary. Hiyo ngoma imenibamba tu. Cock your gun, shoot Satan.
Spiritual taekwondo. So defeated by the demon, man, we say no. Proclaim Christ and this devil up in no. Proclaim Christ and this devil up in no.
That's it. I knew there was something special about that song, Spiritual Taekwondo. Kutisha shetani na karate. Now, I remember when going to church was purely about killing the devil. Every Sunday our pastor used to come to church na zile viatu za kukanyanga shetani. Shetani anakanyangwa mpaka after service. What's left of the pastor's shoes is this. Now that has changed. That has since changed. Most churches now, miracles and blessings have been left to those who can afford it. Now, most sermons have shifted from how to live righteously to how much you need to give to live lavishly. Now, towards the end of last year, Reverend Kathy Kiuna tweeted, and I quote, "Before the end of December, you shall be driving your own car in Jesus' name. Hashtag 40 days of glory." Hapo kwa gari ndio sijui, but I am know for sure watu waliendesha last year. She prophesied a breakthrough, but what was heard of was an outbreak. But there's a catch to the driving. You have to have faith. Up to that point, I cannot argue. Faith is very complicated. And that is what some spiritual leaders exploit. Towards the end of last month, again, social media was on Reverend Kathy's case after she sent out a post, and I quote, "Tithing is an obedience issue. You cannot be a tither, a sincere tither, and remain poor. Hashtag Open Heavens 2018. And again, a lot of people had issues with that. Such controversies draw a very thin line between the false prophets and the real servants of God. The issue of religion is very sensitive. I know that, as it is very serious. See, religion is very personal. People practice it differently. One thing most people have in common is what they do when they practice religion.
Cock your gun, shoot Satan. Ha! Devil of the death. Ha!
Hiyo kitu inanibamba. Yes, shoot Satan. Eh? Alafu some people get exploited hapo kwa in the process ya devil of the dead. See, presently it's very difficult to separate some churches from nightclubs. Quick question. These days, where do you find wines and spirits and loud music on Friday nights? Oh wait, there's another clue. You have to pay for the service. You guessed right, hiyo ni kesha. And if you thought I meant a nightclub, I'm sorry. You are also right. In fact, the roles are reversed now. Secular music plays in churches as frequently as gospel music is played in nightclubs. That's a good balance though. Nyashinski na Sauti Sol washikilie injili kwa club, alafu Willy Paul ashikilie dunia kwa kanisa. But that does not mean that all churches forgive their members for singing secular music. Some members of an Akorino church hunted down one of their members from Kayole to Moranga for removing his turban to perform secular music in clubs. Listen in to the narration, to a narration of how the drama unfolded. The lady doing the narration did it like a Hollywood script. Look out for how professionally she played the conversation between the father and the son.
Babake akukuja kuaga, akamwambia Samii, nimefikiria kama nitaaga. Na sitaki nisikie unatoa hiyo kakofia. Ikae nako kama kiremba. Samii naye akamujibu, baba, mimi nitaweza kuiba nyimbo chochote nikitaka. Akamwambia, vile utafikiria ndio utakaa, na nyumawe ujue mwisho wako vile utakaa dunia hii. Naye akamjibu, baba, nikipata kazi pahali pengine popote nitaweza kuenda. Akamwambia ndio, lakini hiyo kofia usitoe milele na milele.
See, one of the values taught in church is forgiveness. But here is kudanganye. These days, the church is the last place you will be forgiven. I believe the Embakasi Ranching and company chairman made that very clear.
Nikienda kanisa mtu alitukane, hakuna kungoja. Huko tuko kanisa huko, wacha tumwagike huko.
This bite always makes my day. I keep playing it in my mind over and over again. Hiyo kitu ni bamba. Just the idea kupigana kwa kanisa alafu mumefunikwa na masakramenti. That's holy war. Paka unaweza hey, baba bariki coffee before your servant. Ibariki anapoimega na inapofika katika mwili wake iweze kusaidia mahali katika mwili huo. Now shoot Satan. Now I believe the point is home. A church may preach forgiveness, but don't be shocked if you don't find it there. I'm not an expert in spiritual matters. Mi pia ni kondoo kama wewe. So hello and welcome to the weekend edition. I'm Dr. Kingori. Now the guest on our show tonight is Jim Watt. Yes, mnajua Jim Watt? Eh? Kumbe ni under 18. Officer haki yaku? Kwendeni huko. Now, before we get to that part of the show, last week Kenya Power disconnected electricity at City Hall over an unpaid bill of 990 million shillings. At least half of that bill is said to have been consumed wakifanya welding kwa zile gari wanatumianga kushika hookers. Now, I personally don't see the big issue with City Hall kukatiwa stima. Why do they even need lights in the first place? Bearing in mind, most of the deals done there are done in the dark. And from this story, I actually have an idea of the big task ahead of our governor in fighting the dark forces of City Hall. If one of the popular taglines za Kenya Power is Mulika Mwizi, na wao ndio wamechoka mpaka wakazimia wezi stima, how will our governor fight people he cannot see? And by the way, on that governorship issue, it's true that fahali wawili hawezi kazi zimoja, because shortly after Governor Sonko went to work in Machakos, the county now does not have a governor. There is no way that can be a coincidence. In other news, Anne Girita, one of the suspects in the NYS scandal, season 2, complained in court that she was starving and she requested for water and biscuits as she had not eaten anything for 3 days from when they were arrested. That's a very ironical request. asking for something to eat from the people who arrested you for eating something. That request was, however, denied. The court must have felt that if she was serious, angeitisha fish fingers na ugali balls kama Lilian Omolo. Now, she asked the judge, how can we follow these proceedings when we are hungry? We are starving. We have since established that the court may have also ignored her hunger claims after it emerged that she was just quoting Giuliani. Niko njaa hata siwezi karada. Now, the main subject of our show tonight is showbiz. That one thing about entertainment that has gotten artists to the level of dressing like bees just to create a buzz. Now, showbiz can be described as the true lies of the entertainment industry. Take, for example, this video of comedian Eric Omondi, top comedian, that recently went viral. I know most of you are wondering, what is the relationship between Doi Mejawaru and Eric Omondi? But those who remember very well know that the first part of the video was what he advertised while on holiday, but the second part is when Kenyans realized that he had supplied air. Now, another recent case of what qualifies as a publicity stunt is the case of Otile Brown's alleged wedding to fellow singer Sanaipei Tande, only to later launch Vera Sidika as his lover. Alafu mnajua vile mliongea vibaya. Ati Otile Brown aliwacha sweetie akaenda na ile juala ya kufunga nayo. In short, what you guys are saying ni ati Otile Brown is a singer dating a rapper. Now, if you are keen enough, you'll notice that I have deliberately avoided mentioning Vera Sidika and plastic in the same sentence. That is repetition. To be fair though, these are just jokes. Vera Sidika is not plastic. Her relationship with Otile Brown already proves that. Vrenyi watu sema Otile Brown is hot, si Vera would have melted by now. Diamond Platnumz has also been making headlines with allegations of being the NYS of baby, supply up, supply pale. Some people say, actually, that's why alitenda wema akaenda za. A relationship, critics claim, was all a publicity stunt. Hapo kwa relationship, I may be tempted to buy the theory. But having babies as a publicity stunt, that's a long shot. Watu wachane na Diamond. In fact, Zari has more babies than him. Why don't people talk about that? I mean, do the math. Diamond has 3 babies wenye tunajua. Zari has 5 kids. Plus Diamond 6. I don't think anyone would create a family just for show. But hapo mimi nitatetea Dangote. Back home again, veteran news anchor Swale Mdoe made news for his intention to sell his kidney. Most people have since concluded that this was a publicity stunt because several months later, hakuna mtu ameona akisoma news hivi. One thing I need to make clear is that a publicity stunt shouldn't be a bad thing. Ideally, it's meant to be a creative way of marketing. Unfortunately, seems like in Kenya it only works for politicians. A big scandal is one of the surest ticket to a political office. For example, not all the 47 counties were represented in the NYS scandal season 1. It just gave us 1 governor. Don't you think that this is why season 2 has 46 suspects? NYS has nothing to do with entertainment. I just sneaked that in there for the coincidence. The kind of publicity we are focusing on the show tonight is that kind that some artists use to remain relevant. It's not a bad thing, just that there are some people who take it a little too far. And you cannot blame the artist, though. We have since established that lies are more appealing to the public than the truth, which explains why politicians are the most famous people in Kenya. And according to the findings of a report by Massachusetts Institute of Technology, some time back, the average person lies at least twice a day. Well, that's for the rest of the world. In our country, the average Kenyan tells the truth at least twice a week. I'm so curious to understand how necessary some of these stunts are to the brands that do them. And that's why our guest on the show tonight is someone who has a serious taste of the entertainment industry, a veteran musician, Jim Watt. Hello and welcome to the Weekend Edition. I'm Dr. Kingori. We have a great show lined up for you tonight. Our guest on the show is the surviving member of one of the deadliest criminal gangs in the history of this country. Note the use of the term deadly. I'll explain that later. Alikuwa squad moja na kina Rasta, Wanogo na Washosho. John Kibera is in the house. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But before we get to that part of the show, Jamaican reggae artist Alaine has given her life to Christ. Alaine ameokoka mazi. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I think Willie Paul is up to something good with this collabo. At this rate, he should do another collabo to bring out the Jemima Thiongo in Akode. Yes. Now, still in church, Deputy President William Ruto was criticized for his donations to churches. And as usual, he had a genius response.
Kuna watu wengine saa zingine wanatutisha ya kwamba mbona wewe umeenda kanisani, mbona umeenda kutoa mambo ya kanisa, umeenda kununua vitu kanisani. Na hawa watu ukiwachunguza sana, pesa yao pia wanatumia usiku. Mara pesa yao wanapeleka kwa waganga, pesa yao wanapeleka kwa wachawi usiku. Yetu sisi tunaleta mchana kanisani kwa kazi ya Mungu.
So hii story ishe leo. The question is not mahali umetoa pesa, ni mahali unaipeleka. Period. In other news, there are reports that SGR workers are being caned by the Chinese. As in wanachapo viboko. Sounds unbelievable because we all know watu wa Chinese ni watu wa kung fu. Unaweka chuma vibaya unasikia, "Wewe bro, unaitwa na Jet Li." Ai neke mani mwambie siedi. Mchina hata nigeuza wetagura. Na akiniguza tena ndio atatabua majina yangu kamili ni Boro Yeng. Now the SGR management has denied this, but even if it were true, we need to define what kugongwa really means, because in this case, is it physically caning or the cost of the SGR to Kenyans? Now elsewhere, former KPLC managing director Ben Chumo this week revealed that he is worth 212 million shillings. And he said, and I quote, "I can't say that I'm a rich man in relative terms, of course. I've not yet reached there." What is he saying about these rappers wametuchokesha Instagram na I've got money in the bank na net worth ya 2,300 shillings? We live in a very interesting country. Look at the common response of suspected Kenya billionaires when asked about their wealth.
I would not say that I am a poor man, but I wouldn't say that I would be in the class of people that Kenyans can want to be interested in what they own. There are people who own things in this country. I'm not in that class.
I don't show off. Do you know me? I don't show off. And I'll never show off in my life. I'm a down-to-earth person. But they're hurting me for nothing. Nothing. I'm not a billionaire. I'm just a rich man. Not very rich.
Upande mwingine wa studio hata hawajaulizwa na mtu.
Chance, nigga. That's a chance, nigga.
Also, a Kenyan woman by the name of Evelyn Misumi has been arrested in the US after she tried to rob a bank in Texas on Wednesday with a hammer. Nyundo. Laleni chini, nimesema watu walale chini. Nimesema watu walale chini. And now to the main subject of our show tonight. Last week, Ms. Langata Women Prison, Ruth Kamande, who killed her boyfriend back in 2015, was sentenced to death, drawing mixed reactions. Some people feel she deserves the sentence. Others claim the punishment is inhuman. I, on the other hand, find the death sentence to be weird. The government promises to kill you, but they have preserved you for a later date. Which can also be confusing, because if you think about it, being sentenced to death technically is what all Kenyans are going through right now, assuming kila mtu amekunywa mercury. If you think you're safe ati wewe ni mtu wa Nduvia, death sentence inakungoja kwa ngoma. Unanyongwa na the council alafu calligraph anakukuta na mazishi. And if you still think you're safe sababu hausikizangi secular, gospel is even worse. Artists are on record sentencing themselves to death. Sorry guys, that's also a secular song. about Ruth Kamande, where there are people who claim that she has already been rehabilitated over the time she has been in prison and argue that her sentence should be committed to life in prison, which brings me to what tonight's show is about, crime and punishment in Kenya. John Kiriamiti was a guest on our show some time back, and most people will agree with him on this point that he made.
Wote mpaka hapa tuko nao hapa tu wote, honestly, mpaka my wife ni alikuwa nani na wengine, I believe tuko na kale kitu kawizi ndani yetu. It's only that you don't promote it, lakini it's right inside you. Kakilizi kawizi wizi yuko ndani yetu. Hata hapa sasa, hapa hakuna mtu hajaiba in the first place. Hata kama ni pencil, ramba, hata kakitu ukachukua ukaweka ati sababu yako iliibiwa na unachukua unaweka, you are a thief.
Ni nyinyi anaongelea. So basically, everyone is a thief or a criminal. People just play different leagues and different stages in the hierarchy. In Kenya, there's an unwritten system of levels of crime. Most people start with petty crime, kama kuiba Facebook status, #stolen. Ana graduate, anaanza kuiba kijificha. Then you start approaching your clients indirectly, hugging them from behind, inaitwa ngeta. After that, they invest in a gun where they can start approaching clients one-on-one. So many levels za kuiba. I just know mtu akigraduate kabisa anaingia politics. That's not to mean. That's not to mean waheshimiwa wote ni wezi, but wezi wote ni waheshimiwa. In this country. Or else, how else do you explain mtu anakunyang'anya kitu umefanyia kazi, wewe ndio unabembelezana. Ati chukua tu nirudishie SIM card na unipe fare. Na pesa ni yako. Different people practice crime on different levels. Wengine uchagua moja, wanakufa nayo. Take the case of the 80-year-old grandmother who was shot dead in Gadhuku village, Murang'a County last Friday for allegedly being involved in kidnapping. An 80-year-old grandmother as a gangster. That, my friends, can only mean two things. One, she hit the 70-year-old life expectancy pass mark and now decided to have fun with the bonus years. Or two, she has been a gangster for over 50 years, which means she has been working even before independence. Basically, alianza kubomwa nchi kabla tuanze kuijenga. See, most Kenyans are familiar with some of the most notorious gangsters in Kenyan history. Rasta, Wanogo, Washosho. Do you want to tell me that they could have killed the wrong Washosho? How does an 80-year-old grandmother kidnap or rob you with a gun? Wewe kijana nipatie mpaka hiyo kikoi. Na usimame mahali moja nisipoteze begu. Kuna risasi moja peke yake. Ni muhimu niipade mahali sawa sawa. Kuja hapa katikati. It does not make sense. At 80 years, it's sad that she died by the gun. How she escaped the police for that long, I have no idea. How do you even report that to the police na wakuamini? Tiafande nimenyang'anywa simu na Mother Teresa. Na hiyo alama umetoa wapi kichana? Hiyo pia imetoka grandma. Now, different techniques have been applied to combat crime. And most interesting has to be the encouragement of criminals to surrender their arms, and then they will be baptized and forgiven. Governor Mike Sonko himself came up with an initiative where he was offering 50,000 shillings to anyone who surrenders their guns.
All these areas that we know that people are armed illegally, it's a high time they take advantage of this amnesty and surrender.
See, ideally, such initiatives are supposed to help in combating crime, but you could argue that somehow they discourage criminals from coming forward. But still on the same breath, we have cases of former gangsters who surrendered and have changed to become respectable members of the society. Our guest on the show tonight is one of them, and one thing in common with all their stories is that crime does not pay. Join us on the other end of this break with John Kibera, who sank 6 feet deep to steal from the dead, as he tells us how he came back.